What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another episode of Lions Latest, going through the latest Detroit Lions news, man. And now my camera may look a little bit different. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what I did. I've changed the frames or something on accident, so it may look a little different. Hopefully my mouth matches my voice. That's the hope here. However, we have some breaking Detroit Lions news, and I don't want to play around with it and miss it. Plus, we also have a live stream going on tonight, so I'm just gonna kind of live with it for now. Hopefully it's fine. I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good on my end. Hopefully it's fine, and I'll end up adjusting that. But for now, we got some Lions news, so let's get it started. Welcome everybody to my video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we are back with some breaking Detroit Lions news. And this was something that I guess was kind of just being hyped on Twitter in terms of something was going to happen with the Detroit Lions, but we didn't know what. There was a lot of anticipation seemingly, and I didn't really know what it was coming from. I mean, I was trying to search Twitter, and it just seemed like everybody's like, man, something's about to happen, but what? I have no clue. Like, there seemed to be kind of like no idea on what's actually going to happen. And it turns out, I think we just found out what that move was going to be. And that is that according to Jeremy Fowler, the Detroit Lions and also Bleacher Report are signing quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I don't have the details on this contract, but I do know that Teddy Bridgewater, as of now, is signing with the Detroit Lions. Now, he came in recently for a visit with the Lions, and now he is being signed. Now, I don't necessarily know if this has something to do with how they felt Nate Sudfeld performed in practice yesterday. I mean, I think this may have been just a situation of Teddy Bridgewater feeling out what his options were going to be for the season, understanding that he was one of the more unique quarterbacks that could fit into a really good role for the Lions. You're the backup quarterback, so you give us a really nice safety blanket. He's 30 years old, plenty of experience. He's been the guy in a few seasons, but at the same time, I think he also, from the outside looking in, can bring a very valuable mentorship role to a quarterback like Hendon Hooker, who I was actually watching today. I really love the sense of kind of the feel that he had within that offense. We know he throws a very pretty football, consistent spiral. A lot of the tools are there. The legs, I think, can be very underrated in terms of what he can do. Just kind of a really good awareness and feel about him for the game, but you're learning from a guy that has been praised for that aspect of his game in Teddy Bridgewater. He's been praised for his feel on the field, being like a coach that has connections with a Dan Campbell in the past, spent time with the New Orleans Saints and some of our other coaches as well, but also he's been a pretty reliable player when he's been on the field. You don't get a lot of special in terms of, man, that was a wow, but you get really good timing, you get rhythm within the offense, you have a guy that can help continue to keep the playbook somewhat expanded, even as a player that's bounced around to different teams, being able to keep the playbook from getting really shrunk down and minimized, and also show up on some of those plays which are a little bit more of, hey, the quarterback's just got to make a play here, whether that be passing on a third down, hitting some more of the big time throws, which he's done in the past, or simply converting in the red zone when windows get really tight and small in the timing, and he can utilize his legs there. We've talked a lot about this player in the past, so I'm not going to do a breakdown in this video, plus I'm trying to get this video out pretty quickly, but I'm pretty sure we will revisit this and talk about this player in more depth. But I like this signing. On the surface, I really like this addition for the Lions. I like Nate Sudfeld. Now, yes, he threw the 2 interceptions yesterday in team drills working against the top defense. I don't know if that necessarily had something to do with this. It definitely could have, but I like Nate Sudfeld. I still, from this point forward, from what I've seen to this point, I would have been confident with him coming in as our backup quarterback, but with Teddy Bridgewater, I definitely feel good looking at what he's done. And then, like I said, I think the mentorship part can be very valuable for a player like Hendon Hooker when you have that kind of experience that Bridgewater has and kind of the knowledge and feel for the game and just the understanding of the game that he has. I think that can be very beneficial for a young quarterback like Hendon Hooker. So I think this is great from all sides. I like Nate Sudfeld. You also have Adrian Martinez, who seemingly has showed some of the things that you liked in college. He's shown those on the field as well. Not to say that it's been perfect, but decision making, some of the athleticism that he has, we know of course, is there. So he's flashed and made some plays throughout training camp as well. We'll see how that shakes out. They may just hold 2 quarterbacks. That's probably most likely. So this may mean that Sudfeld doesn't make the roster, but we'll keep an eye on that. That thing's going to play itself out. However, we also have some other roster news that I just want to touch on real quickly here, kind of put a bow on it. Again, I'm not going to do full breakdowns on this because I'm trying to get this video out to you guys. We do have some other news. First off, the Detroit Lions have agreed to an injury settlement with wide receiver Tom Kennedy. Now, Tom Kennedy was waived injured after dealing with an injury that seemed pretty significant, and the Lions now have agreed to an injury settlement. What this does is it keeps him from reverting back to IR, and essentially the team and player, they come to an agreement of how much time he is expected to miss. He can get that base salary for what he's expected to miss, will also allow him to become an unrestricted free agent instead of just reverting to IR and sitting there for the entirety of the season because he was waived injured, and at the same time he also wasn't claimed. He would just just go back to IR and he'd be out for the season. Instead, now gives him an opportunity to go sign, whether that's back here potentially at some point or elsewhere, but it does make him a free agent once again, and he still gets some of that base salary. So I think this is good for both parties in that sense. I'm happy for him in that way, and then he could potentially still get an opportunity. And then on top of that, the Detroit Lions also announced that they are signing offensive lineman Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart is a former guard from Florida State, listed at about 6'4.5", 330. I mean, that was the biggest thing that stuck out about him. He is a big man, and you see it when you watch him. He almost looks taller than that, but he is a big man, and you could see it. Now, I haven't went through a ton of his games yet. I've went through a couple, specifically this past season with the Buffalo Bills, where he played in 125 snaps, and what you saw is, I saw at least some versatility within his game, kind of being that sixth offensive lineman at times, playing in that role, playing in an overloaded offensive line at times as the extra body, like the next tight end or the extra tight end on the field, while also plugging in at some left tackle and playing some tackle work for the Buffalo Bills as well. You obviously saw the strength was in his games. You liked the way that he fought to reset his hands, and I think there was real quickness off the line at times in terms of, like a guard, getting positioned very well for pass protection. However, I think there are some athletic questions. He definitely did not test out well when coming out of Florida State. You saw it around the edge. You saw it on some of the backside of zone runs, lacking maybe some of the lateral quickness and the movement skills to play some of those roles consistently. And a quick note here, I would not be shocked if the Lions try to give him some reps at guard, especially with some of the gap work we like to do and some of the pulling offensive linemen. That would not surprise me within this offense. I haven't seen a ton of this player, so I do need to watch more of him, but those are some of the early notes that I gathered from watching this player. Final news is that Jake McQuaid, the long snapper who was signed this offseason from the Dallas Cowboys, he is a Pro Bowler. He has been also released, which means that Scott Daly is going to be the long snapper as of now for this season. He was also let go, which freed up the roster spot. So that's the news that we have. I think that led to kind of the excitement of like, oh snap, this guy got released. Maybe there's a spot here that they could potentially fill. And Jake McQuaid is that player for the Lions that has been let go. And that is, again, the long snapper. But that is the latest Detroit Lions news. We can hit on some other things a little bit later, but I want to get this video out to you guys before this live stream. So I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. What's your initial reaction to hearing that Teddy Bridgewater is a Lion? I really like it. I think this is really good for Lions. It's nice to have a nice backup. Maybe he can help Jared Goff as well, being in multiple different systems, being able to pick up. He played a pro-style offense even back at college at Louisville. And then also, I think his skill set, it brings you, again, a quarterback that can keep the playbook open a little bit more. You see the anticipation that he throws with, the level 1 success. You see the completion percentage over his career. You obviously get a lack of velocity when he starts to push the ball a little bit further, and you'll get mistakes, things like that. But I also think that this is one of the better backups, and he also, again, is one of those unique guys that is willing to, I think, accept this position, because some backups are looking for opportunities to start, those kind of things. I think this is the perfect guy for our situation currently, and I'm excited to see what he looks like in practice and see how this quarterback situation plays out. With that being said, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.